Swami Vishnu-devananda and top scientists of the world in the 1980s look at karma and energy medicine in the Sivananda Yoga Camp.
Universe of karma. You got karma bhumi. Karma bhumi. Karma bhumi means this earth planet is the place you could feed your soul in the past. This universe is a bhumi, or land, or ground, or a form. We cultivate in this universe by our daily action, by our daily thoughts, seeds. You sow the seed. The seed is caused from the desires. You all have desires. One wants to be a millionaire, another wants to be a bank robber, another wants to become a Swami. No one is free from desires. As long as desires exist, you have to perform action to receive it, to satisfy the desire. And when you try to satisfy the desire, you have to pay the price, the fruit. This was described in the Bible, Old Testament, the story of Adam and Eve. You heard the story, everyone knows the story of Adam and Eve. The serpent tempted, and he ate an apple, and from then onwards, they became sinners because they ate the apple. Well, we are eating apple every day. That means our sins are not going to wash away. We are increasing our sins, is it not? What is apple? What is serpent who tempted? You ever thought of that? You don't think. Though you can be a scientist, you can be a doctor, you can be a philosopher. Western mind, they will not go deeper. Suddenly they come to a block. And the spirituality comes, oh, it is for spiritual people. We are scientists. We don't believe all those things. Adam and his story. Serpent, just some mythology, some kind of people talk some kind of nonsense. But that is what karma entities. Adam represents your Atman, your soul. Eve represents your mind. The mind contains the desires. The serpent is the senses. You got 5 senses to enjoy. You see, you hear. You want to enjoy the world by seeing. You want to enjoy the world by hearing, taste, smell, touch, etc. These are 5 roots of the serpent. And the mind always follows the senses. Senses say you can only do one thing at a time. Come to me, your eye says, I will show you the beautiful pictures. Look at that beautiful girl. And hearing says, no. Come down there. And taste, come on, enjoy, let us enjoy the beautiful dinner, champagne, party, barbecue. And smell says, come on, let's enjoy the beautiful perfume, French perfume, Channel 5, Channel 6. And touch says, look at silky body, the silky skin. Then Minko, look at skin so soft. The mother's hair is as soft as daughter is fat because she is a particular liquid, soap. So each senses say, come on, come to me, come to me, come to me. And the mind, without the mind cooperation, you can't enjoy any other sense pressure. The mind is somewhere, suppose you are thinking something deeper, or some problems you are solving. As I was doing this morning, I was just meditating after we all went, and everyone was going on, of course the staff meeting was going on. And I said, all will finish the staff meeting, go away, I want just to be alone. And then I heard staff meeting almost, just one sound I heard, Swamiji, Swamiji, Swamiji. I kept quiet. I know that's not very urgent. Very urgent. I will hear from when I wake up or when I come out. Then again I went on, and another voice came again in front here, very close. Swami, can I drive you? You are driving me crazy. I tried to stop the driving of this mind because I was talking all this. And I just wanted to relax before I go. And I was sitting here, closing eyes. My own student one just came in. Why can you drive? If I want to drive, I can just open my eyes, ask someone to drive me, or I can even walk. In fact, I want to walk to open my circulation, get the circulation. The senses, I want to bring that sense back and normal before I just get out from this hall. I want to be calm and relax and just move. But again, the sense was brought into action, the mind was disturbed. I merely said, get out. It was very painful, just like throwing a knife into a wound, already wounded. So what I am talking is, and then I went out walking, and Swami, this man wants an appointment. Some girl came up and said, this man wants an appointment, and he talked to Swami, Khartigayanji. If he should talk to Karpati and secretary, then why he had to come and talking? Appointment time, they must come and they talk to me, but not on the road. I would be sitting on the master statue, and suddenly they start asking questions. Though my eyes wide open, you don't have to close eyes to meditate, contemplation, and see the universe. So the senses are constantly disturbing the mind because mind cannot do an action without the, and senses cannot do an action without the mind. All five senses cannot function all at once. Now you are hearing me, you are seeing me. Is it true or not? Are you not seeing me? Are you not hearing me? Are you doing both simultaneously? Doctor, are you hearing me and seeing me simultaneously? You are seeing me and hearing me? Are you sure? Both you are doing? No, doctor. It's not true. If you are seeing me, you are don't hear me. If you hear me, you don't see me. Yeah? But you are hearing me and seeing me simultaneously now? Pardon? You believe. But what is scientific fact? Suppose you are having some experiment going on and your wife calling, honey, honey, it's the dinner time. You didn't hear. The experiment is going on very deep. Your mind is on the experiment. Though the eardrum is operating, again she calls, honey, dinner time. What? Oh, dinner. Oh, I'll be coming in a moment. And mind again start concentrating. And moment become hours. So, what happened to that moment you are coming? You said a moment. That moment is nothing moment, but as your mind is not in the hearing. You don't want to go and eat. You don't want to eat. You don't want to see anything. Just you want to concentrate. Your mind is more engrossed in that object you are concentrating. This happens to everybody. So, If you did not hear her, why? Because your mind is concentrated on something, not on the ear. So you are seeing me, you don't hear me. And you are hearing me, you are not seeing me. Oh, Swami, that's not true. But there is some, I can hear you, I can see you. Now take an example. A lightning strikes far away in the sky. You can hear the lightning and see the lightning and hear the lightning simultaneously. Why not? Both take simultaneously. At the moment of lightning, there's a sound also. But you hear the sound because sound travels much slower than the light. So appears to be first there's lightning, and after 3 seconds, suddenly big bang. But the big bang took place simultaneously. But there is a firecracker nearby, and firecracker explodes. You see and hear simultaneously, is it not? Is it true? Very diplomatic. I don't want to commit. No. Even at the close range, the sound travels very slowly, the light travels faster. 108,086,000 miles per second, the cracker, the light comes, and sound goes only very few hundred feet per second. That peak because very simultaneously taking place because it's very close. But still it takes place in different speeds. So the lighting, because we hear wrong, because it's far away, takes long time for the light, for the sound to come. But in close range also, the sound is not going faster than light. Still simultaneous, it's not taking simultaneous. Though I peak with simultaneous, it's not simultaneous. Same way, you are picked with seeing me and hearing me simultaneously, it's not possible. Your mind can only do one thing at a time. Either it can see, or hear, or taste, or smell, or touch. One thing only your mind can do at a time. But then while you are seeing me, your mind at speed of light, lightning velocity, it goes from the sight to hearing, hearing to the sight, taste, smell, smell to the touch. It goes on constantly moving from one sense to another and gathering data. Painful data you want to disregard and not give it to. Mind is not going to accept that. So wife called you, come here honey. The sound. You neglect it. Come on, close it. Your mind says, no, I'm not going to hear it. Let her call you. How many times? You just say moment. So only your concentration is there. And then when the concentration, the hunger, there is hot dog waiting for me, hamburger waiting, Big Mac is waiting. Now, no signs, nothing, you don't want to see anything, you only want to just how to make that sense happy. So mind comes now everything is tasty. And suddenly, a phone call comes. Suddenly, oh my God, something wrong. The stock market went down, collapsed. Or some wrong thing. Your appetite is gone. Now the mind is thinking about the tragedy. Or if someone of your nearest one got in the hospital. And you are thinking of, what happened? And the phone comes back, he's in the hospital, emergency ward. You don't know what happened, then big accident. And now what happened to your appetite? There's no appetite. The food is there. Your wife is there. The children are there. But nothing is making you happy now. Waiting. And phone call came again. How is the person? Call came. It is something else. Your stock market value went up. Come on, forget. That's not that. Don't tie up the phone. I'm waiting for important thing. Even the value of the stock market going up won't make you happy now. And then next, they're waiting. Another phone call came. Is it 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 2, 1? No, the wrong phone, wrong number, don't call me. Hang up. Then again phone rings. It was somebody calling for some information about the diet. What are you cooking today? Forget about cooking. Then at last, everything is okay. It was not very bad. It's going to be able, wonderful at the hospital. The person is not very serious. Now appetite came. You start devouring everything you've forgotten. Now you start eating and dancing. Okay, let us play music. Let's play champagne party. Back again. Your mind is going on revolving in this type psyche. And then suddenly the phone call comes. That was wrong phone. The person is not well. Because someone gave you the wrong information. Oh my God, again all the dancing stop, music stop. Then again call comes back. That's also wrong. the person himself stops by, I'm okay honey, I'm here all right. Oh, you heard the voice, thank you, oh thank you. And back again you start jumping and dancing and champing party, etc. It's all right. And you try to cure all these problems by finding some ways. And looking at some ways. That problem is in your mind. And because mind goes to various senses, you have to control the mind and detach the mind from the senses. And then attach the self, the God, which is within you. Then only you can remove all diseases and suffering. Nothing will make you happy. No wife, no children. No amount of money can make you happy. Ultimate happiness comes only when you touch that silence. The supreme silence means supreme power, supreme energy. All the wavelengths are nothing but that. That's called meditation. That's called yoga. So yoga goes to root cause and tries to remove all the roots, not just to patch the top or burn the top. And now I convey all this great science and try to talk about various ways and the methods. This is just to draw your attention, even that you have to go back into yourself. You will not be satisfied. No disease you can cure. Millions and millions of years they are trying to cure disease. They have wiped smallpox, cholera, etc. Plague in Europe, 18 million people died in the plague. But we are able to overcome all those things. But then we got a new disease called AIDS, and no cure for it. Maybe one day they will find a cure. Then comes another disease may come, CAID, maybe. Again they won't find an answer. They'll go on to look for the microscope and under the microscope, various methods they use to find why this AIDS came. But they don't understand that karma exists. Behind all disease, all suffering, there's an action behind cause. And until you go to the root cause of all problems is your desire. As long as the desire, the mind will act, and then there's action, there's a reaction, and reaction can be good or bad. That's called Adam and Eve story. The story is done, I conclude with that, then Dr. Simon will just give you the wonderful topics. The Eve is, the serpent is the five senses, and the Eve is the mind. The mind stays, eats and says, come on serpent, and come on eat this apple. Apple is what? Serpent doesn't eat apple. Not serpent has to find an apple to tempt you. How can a serpent can tempt you with an apple? I don't understand that philosophy. If at all the serpent even strikes that with the poison, no one will just go near it. Yet you're tempted with that. Means apple is the fruit of your action. The action you perform, you want enjoy the fruit. Good action brings good fruit, bad action brings bad fruit. This also in all religions. What you sow, so you reap. So if you say good action, you get good food, good fruit. Bad action will bring you bad fruit, bad apple, bitter apple. So the apple is the karma reaction. And Adam and Eve were in the transcendental state. That's Shiva and Shakti. They were in paradise. What is paradise? Means there is nothing for them to enjoy. The whole world is them. They are there in the Garden of Eden. That's called paradise. Means desireless state. And the mind wants to run toward the senses because the serpents, when they eat the apple, means they want to enjoy their life and get the worldly happiness. The moment they start enjoying the apple, what happened to them? What happened to Adam and Eve? You know the story? What happened? That's not, because something really happened. Grace of God, that's true, but there we go. Ashamed for what? Ashamed of what? The first thing, no, they felt naked. Before they were wearing clothes. Then how did they feel naked? That means they are born, reborn, that's called rebirth. In the transcendental state, there is no birth, no body. They are happy because they have no desire. The moment desire came, they want to enjoy, they need a body. And so they got a body. And they felt naked and they are ashamed. Oh my God, I was in the transcendental state, and now I am fallen from heaven. Means from the transcendental, my state, I am. Now they have to be, the children they have to bring the children by pain. And pain came from that moment onwards. They are ashamed, and then the world started moving on. So your mind created this body. You are tempted by the serpent, your senses, and your mind wants to enjoy this world. When you enjoy the world, you will need a body. So you all came here, and you are sitting in this carpet. At least there's a carpet here. Many places there's no carpet. And hearing my boring lecture, you are prepared to go and hear cha-cha-cha, ba-ba-ba, ramba-ramba, and some dance music, and they enjoy champagne party. But you are hearing and going to hear our Dr. Zimmerman to talk about, and you paid for it also. And you paid to hear my lecture, there, right or not, you got no choice. You are a captive audience, I had to, you are controlled now. So all doors are locked, don't run away. Please make sure doors are locked. So your problem is karma. You want to eat the fruit of your action, so you've got a body, and you are ashamed now. It means you are suffering. Shame means suffering. And you think that your all disease you can just remove by any other method. Karma, and this is the purpose is, this symposium is to remind you, the real karma, disease is the birth itself with the disease, like Adam and Eve. They felt naked. And since then we are suffering. So it's not just merely a story, there's deep philosophy behind it. So I brought all this to make you to hear this real story of Adam and Eve, your karma. Now, introduce our speaker, and to draw the attention, a child is playing outside in the muddy puddle, and the mother calls, come and have a dinner inside and wash yourself. No, I won't come. And come and have a chocolate. Okay, I'll come now. So she'll give the baby runs. The purpose of the chocolate is to draw the baby away from that muddle and come inside. So the purpose of all the symposium is to draw you all from this running for money, cure, various type of cure you're looking, nothing will to draw you back again, go back into your real self and become like the true Adam in paradise, true paradise in God. I conclude. Okay, now introduce.
Okay, tonight's guest, as you know, is Dr. John Zimmerman. He is founder of what is called the Bioelectromagnetics Institute. And he's going to offer tonight substantial evidence and measurements of magnetic fields around the hands of healers.
Happening, but I don't trust myself. I could be so happily imagining things that I'm getting on the wrong track. Now today I'm absolutely sure that I felt it. And I adjusted it at the frequency. The one point I wanted to say was, there are four things happen while I am in that condition. One is a kind of heat. I feel the heat here and all. Another is a kind of tingling at the earlobes and maybe at the mouth. You get a feeling as though your lips are getting thick. I asked Andre, he said that is significant. There is one's feeling that lips are becoming thick and here tingling sensation. And another thing I found in my trials was I passed through a quick phase, maybe a few seconds only. That time I found tremendous sensitivity for my ears. In other words, I could pick up a pin drop a mile away. That type of ears.
Repeat that again.
I became extremely sensitive in my ears. Because in the next room, Andre and Michael are shifting papers and punching things and so on. Normally, I need not hear them. The threshold is so low. The hearing threshold is so low when you shove about a paper. But a few seconds I felt that they were like a thunderbolt on me. I could definitely say that this is something comparable to an altered state of consciousness. In fact, this is the topic of my talk, maybe day after tomorrow.
Why I mean it before you talk, put all the Andre, Dr. Andre, the engineer Michael, and all people and listen also. That people said that that is right what he said.
Yes, it could be wrong. I have felt it. I have felt it 2 times. But this system, biological system called a man, is so tricky. Some people may feel, some people may not feel. This is possible. But I would like to find out. Yes, that we can find. In fact, that would be the experiment by itself. It's going to. So this I wanted to just convey before everybody here, because it's a wonderful talk that he gave, and at the end he was raising these questions. So we have made one important link, this accidental discovery. I mean, I was hoping to discover this, but it has been done in this very lab, and under very, very primitive conditions. We have hardly any equipment in that room. In fact, my own winding of a coil is all crudely done, but it did the work. Now it can be, with a squid you can locate now.
Thank you.
My question comes from everybody. Dr. Grant has a question.
Okay, Dr. Grant and the side. Okay, come up here, Dr. Grant. You don't want to come up here. Join here. See all the doctors, so you can also one can question they cannot. We are like the blind people, we cannot ask much right questions. Yeah, Dr. Glad you come here. You're going to see it in the mic.
There were really, the question was this. You mentioned that you had a wavelength where you put it on, where you didn't feel anything. And then you had a wavelength that you put it on, that you felt this. What was the wavelength that you didn't feel anything? And what was the wavelength? Okay. Does it have... Oh, one was 85 and one was 5, 8.5.
First I put a setting for a multiplier of 10, 85. Then I thought, oh, this is not what I want, I want 8.5.
Yes. Now, that's interesting. You see, the point is that he got it at 5. Notice, it is not 0, 0. It is not 7.83. That's right. That's it. And that's an important point that I want to make. It may be within a range, a very narrow range, but it's not with such precision as Beck and Puharich have claimed.
Right, I point that out in the paper. That a person has the ability to entrain their brain waves to within a range of frequencies, and that this frequency that the Earth pulsates at changes. Sometimes it may be 7.8, other times it may be 8.5. The brainwave frequencies, while we're awake, generally range from about 3 or 4 cycles per second up to about 30 or 40. And anywhere within this range, it is possible to entrain the brainwave frequencies. Whatever is dominant at that time.
That's not alpha, matter all the way. All spectrum, delta to alpha.
Yeah, that's all the spectrum. Delta, theta, delta, beta.
It's like this, and then the beta is about certain above. So in all cycles you can do that?
Most anywhere within the brainwave frequency, if you have a pulsating, extremely low frequency magnetic field, you can, for certain individuals, readily entrain their brainwaves to that frequency. And I should point out, this is very important, that some of these frequencies are extremely pleasurable and beneficial and healing. And other of these frequencies are extremely undesirable. And some of them have been investigated by the CIA as a method of crowd control.
How they do that?
By making a person so nauseously sick that they can barely stand, not throwing up to...
By changing the frequency? Radio frequency or what? How?
Those frequencies that are used to make a person sick have variously been reported at either 5.6 cycles per second or 6.66 cycles per second.
And what about then? They can crowd control by this bucket nauseating this thing. What about changing the brainwaves of the regular President Bush now by Russians? They say they are doing this by making some kind of pulsation on the brainwaves of the politicians so they can control them also.
Exactly. Well, this is basically how charismatic people are able to exert such an enthusiastic influence over people. Their brainwaves are very powerful and pulsating and remain in tune long enough to literally get you to pay attention. Like tuning your synchronizing dial until that picture comes in very clearly. And I would love to have the opportunity to study the brainwave frequencies for the degree of variation from second to second in the frequency and other characteristics of the EEG of some very charismatic healers. Perhaps the TV evangelist types, or perhaps a yoga master, such as yourself.
I'm not a master, I'm a servant.
Because you have learned the secret of tuning with nature after years and years of study. I don't see how you're able to do it. I can't even sit still for 10 minutes, let alone long enough to meditate. I have not mastered that within myself. But I have an inquisitive curiosity to know what it is that you do, how you do it, why you do it, not the why, but the mechanism, how it works. And I believe that we study these things in terms of readily definable parameters such as coherence, frequency coherence, phase coherence, very important. It doesn't have to have just the right frequency, you have to have the right phase. Knowing when to do something is as important as knowing how frequently to do it, when to begin it, when to begin the breath, when to begin the brainwave. These are the parameters that need to be examined.
So you got to stay here with me for my entire life. And you can wife you all the day with me because she won't be able to be with you. So let them both of you stay here.
Yes. The experiments Dr. Narayan just described would seem to be really major in terms of trying to see what the effect of various wavelengths would be on the mental state.
May I elaborate a little more?
Yes.
Now, next thing is, as before you go, now you got a brain imager. Why don't you use this brain imager connecting while this treatment is going on and see what image we are getting also? We can do that. And now put Dr. Dad also into that, see what is happening, and may put that for his wife also. That's what is represents. Yeah.
One problem is that the waves that they're creating with the wave machine, the same
Interference. What he means
So,
is
can we do some insulation on instead of heat and how do you insulate that interference?
I think only answer will be from Michael.
Michael, our engineer here, he is working. Okay, maybe he'll find a solution because he's a very genius in electronic from Czechoslovakia doctor. He came from Czechoslovakia, Dr. Andre. He's a very genius and also he's a very unique engineer. You see? Maybe he'll be able to find some solution to this. So find out that what he can do. Okay?
Now I wanted to elaborate.
Come up here, come here. Yeah, on the chair. Take one chair from the side. Now we are confident.
There should be more people up here than some.
Yeah, that's right.
To congratulate Dr. Shankaran of his experiment, because I think it is very important to get first the subjective data of this experiment, which are very important, and really the magnetics is very underestimated and very important field. Now, I think these subjective reports are important because they point that something really happened within the brain, because as we know that 7 to 8 it belongs to the theta, according to several authors who divided the bands. Yes, Hermann made factor analysis, it found perfect boundaries on tens of hertz. But I don't mind, it's not important, it is somewhere between theta and alpha. And most important, however, is that
the theta is up to 7.8? 8. So that means alpha starts from 8 onwards, you know? So it is a very, very small area, no?
Yes, it's not necessary how the scientists divide the frequency spectrum, because it is our artificial selection of the bands.
Yeah, it's very arbitrary.
Yeah, it's very artificial. And it depends on the subject. There are, in fact, papers and works in Prague done by Dr. Dostal, who showed that each individual has different bands, and one should, by interpreting individual spectra, one should refer to his individual resting condition and then refer, for example, by the effect of some pharmacon or something like that, to his respective basic frequencies. So, but I turn a little bit away. I wanted just to say that these frequencies are really very important in the brain, because they are all tuned or coming from the limbic system. They are mostly from hippocampus, partly from the rostro-reticular formation, and they are mostly connected to respiratory neurons. For example,
respiratory neurons, just say again, I didn't understand that.
Respiratory neurons, that means the center.
These are brain neurons, I mean diaphragm.
Yes,
breathing,
yes,
diaphragm and the
yes.
intercostal system.
So the internal communication, so not exactly said, but the internal communication between subcortex and respiratory neurons and the overt behavior is mainly on the frequency of 7 Hz, 7 up to 8. For example, vibrissa in mouse, tingling of the vibrissa in mouse is perfect 7 Hz. 7 to 8. Moving of the vibrissa by, for example, by rat or mouse.
Mice brain, mouse brain or talking about or mouse?
So made that vibrissa, I don't know.
Vibration.
Whiskers.
Whiskers. Oh yeah, whiskers. Oh yeah, that's it.
So this movement is exactly.
That's 7.8 cycle?
Yes, it's 7 to 8.
Oh my God.
And the sniffing, when they are sniffing, for example, by exploration, like this is also 7 to 8.
What's that?
Sniffing.
Sniffing. Oh, 7.8.
And it is in some whole number relation to the diaphragmatic movement.
Diaphragmatic movement.
So, and this various so-called maybe tics, maybe not, evoked by the stimulation are also released from the subcortical regions. So, by neurological patients and in some psychics, it's known that there are involuntary.
What do you mean psychic?
I mean,
science is present. What do you mean psychic? Also, Dr. Simon also said psychic. What do you mean by psychic? And from your point that I'm talking about.
Psychic is a person who is sensitive to the information that is around him, period.
Okay.
No, a psychic is often a person
who is sensitive to information that is not ordinarily sensitive to people in general. They may be able to see fields around people, they may be able to see in the body, they may be able to perceive thoughts and attitudes, a whole range of phenomena which normally cannot be gotten at by the ordinary 5 sentences. Why, I don't know. That may often be a result either of heredity or training
I think it may be, for a brief moment, synchronizing their brainwave to the universal carrier frequency, this Schumann frequency of the Earth. This is why mother and daughter, separated by as much as a continent away, can sometimes know an important event that's happening to the other person. Somebody involved in a car crash.
That's what you are telepathy. You are talking about telepathy now.
Yes, we are. Exactly. Bioinformation transfer by means of universal carrier.
Like now you say clairaudience, you could hear some sound. That may it's all that frequency, nothing but frequency. Telepathy means certain frequency, we do not know how to tune it. Maybe we'll find some instruments to do that.
That's exactly what the squid is able to do.
What that?
That's what the squid instrument that I showed at the beginning of my lecture is able to do. It's the only instrument about $70,000.
Oh, that's not so bad.
By the way, I asked him what the price was this morning, and he said 45 plus 5,000. So there's been a recent inflation.
There's two versions of the squid. There's one made in the United States, which is a DC squid at $70,000. There's one made here in Canada, which is an RF bias squid, which is $45,000. They have different characteristics, so there's a range anywhere between 45 and 70.
Okay, doesn't matter about the money now. Let us see. Okay, what Dr. Andres? Okay, just finish.
No, you see, the thing is, you make the assumption, for example, that if they get into this kind of a trainment, that they can pass this telepathic information.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Now
you can see the aura, as you said, magnetic field you can measure. So also we can measure the thought waves coming during these telepathic conditions, and maybe the magnetic field, etc. Maybe that's nothing but a thought wave connecting to universal thought. Possible to. So that may be, so we can easily measure one day. We can create the method. Everyone can be telepathic also. Everyone can cure themselves. Everyone can telepathically communicate in another dimension without having all the telephones and telegraphs. Okay.
You won't tell AT&T.
Yeah, we'll start. You have got
And Bell
we'll for the corporation now it's a big money. Okay.
Well, he needs money for research, so.
Okay, doesn't matter. You come and join me, we give food and water and we can do this.
Okay. One word of caution about this. There are certain frequencies which could be lethal. And there are some frequencies which can cause the natural oscillation of the cerebral spinal fluid to oscillate. And if a person is pumped at these frequencies at the right, not only the right exact frequency specified to the nearest 1/100th of a cycle per second, but also at the right phase, it could be possible to literally cause a person to have a stroke or worse.
Well, if I comment to this, because in fact there are oscillations which are very important for cardiovascular and respiratory system. For example, during Kapalabhati, we know exactly.
Kapalabhati is one of the pranayama we do now.
We know exactly that 1 Hertz Kapalabhati usually people avoid. The most used frequency is 1.5 to 2 Hertz. 2 Hertz is most favorite frequencies of establishing Kapalabhati. So that means that the organism chooses himself frequency, which is probably in his structure somehow important. Another frequencies that Dr. Zimmerman mentioned are of this, of cerebrospinal fluid. There are such frequencies and are on 0.2 and 0.1 Hertz. That means period 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and slower, but these are, they don't have such an exact frequency. and they are correlated to blood pressure oscillators and central respiratory generator. It functions very regularly on this frequency. Maybe this Schumann's frequency is somehow related, some subharmonic, we should count it.
And one more data if you want to, and one or two maybe data necessary to find the real truth. The person with the diet and belief and also his breathing pattern. This is very important. Then only you get the data food. Otherwise, a person can eat meat and then do kapalbhati, might get different frequency. I don't know how his healing capacity or his ability to tune to the healer. So we have, and the healers that also must be taken. People who have the magnitude, what type of diet they are taking, what type of life they are having, how much celibacy they are practicing. Celibacy also very important part in this all these frequencies. Without proper celibacy, the prana cannot properly vibrate. So many things are there. So you cannot just merely find because we have the magnetic pulse. Maybe two different people are not having proper control over this. For some of these biological functions like celibacy, etc. That may be wrong. So many things are. So it takes quite a long time. We had a super computer to do all those things. But stay all of you here. I will just guide you all in one way, one dimension, another dimension. Because I get my information from another dimension. I use crystals. I used to do that. I got many things, but now I don't use it. I can directly tune and get many information from another dimension. And some people will talk to me. Some can hear some voice, some kind of voice. I can't say where it comes from. But some master or some scientist from another dimension try to awake to bring knowledge to our scientists and earth scientists. Where our science experiments and what we are doing very crude. So you are maybe all selected by, in fact, it's not accident that you are here. Do you know that? It's not accident that you are here. Not today he found some new experiments in this lab, he found out that they are actually watching how our brain works. From a right time, they send the tune, our brainwave to their brainwave to get us the right information. But and this is all the fact, actually, I know that, it's true. I tell a long story for that. But anyhow, merely an instrument itself is not sufficient. Your brainwave has to be guided from another dimension. And the one thing which you guide, you can tune to other dimension is the crystal. I'll tell you some other time in fact I talk with all of you. And at that time you can also experiment in the EEG and so forth and the other things like Indras, Mantras which I are talking about. These are the things you have to go into new fields. A field is never closed. And that maybe with your present knowledge and adding this knowledge together, you'll be a super scientist. That's all I can say.
Can I have one comment? I mean, the comments by both John Zimmerman and Andre that there are certain destructive frequencies, it is very true. Because in the Schumann band, there is a very narrow band of frequencies not yet desired by scientists. That happens when this ionosphere makes little movements up and down. This 100 kilometers that I said is 100 kilometers plus minus 10 to 15 kilometers on an average day movement. That changes the frequency, the Schumann frequency, from about 7.8 to 7.82, 83, of that order. That the body is able to tolerate, or the brain. Now, once in a lunation, what happens is the moon and the sun coming together in the same line with the earth on a new moon day, when there is no moon as we call it. On the new moon day, the tidal pull on the ionosphere is greatest. So that time the ionosphere gets piled up. In effect, what happens is these 100 kilometers ionospheric capacitance thickness becomes about 115. That is the time when it gives a particular frequency. The Schumann frequency at that time is such that the people who are slightly mentally derailed become worse.
Very crime frequency and so forth, more petrol from the streets and more accidents.
And particularly derailed people or people with a tendency for that, they get aggravated on these cycles.
In the mental hospital, they put more gods on that day.
You mentioned that as the new moon.
The new.
What about the full moon, which is well known?
No, but a new moon is a position when both the sun and the
moon
moon
are on the same side.
Yes. In fact, new moon tides the bigger tide.
Is a bigger tide than
No,
moon
oceanic tide.
than full moon.
Yes, full moon,
That's our opposite side.
opposite side. So the
Yes.
full is distributed.
Yes.
New moon, both the sun and the moon are pulling the Earth's water, any fluid around the Earth. So there are some destructive frequencies, as he correctly pointed out. Whether we slip into that any time and then begin this suffering, in the future experiments that one ought to be planning, I will only say one ought to be planning, should be such that we sweep this Schumann band in slow steps of 0.1 hertz and then expose human beings, human volunteers.
Well,
probably,
you're not going to be able
you
to
can
get.
test anything on me. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about that. Okay.
You probably won't be able to get to what we transferable to humans because the biological effects of these fields vary with respect to the size of the organism. Adults are approximately 2 meters tall individuals, or 2 meters tall. The orientation, the upright orientation of the human being standing erect, gives him a very different response to the fields than, say, a dog or a horse, in which the major chakra axis is horizontal to the with respect to our response to a field relative to, let's say, a laboratory rat. I have more, and tonight I do have something to share. Speaking of sharing, I would appreciate it if you get a letter, which my wife will hand out to you
We'll
as
get
you leave
everybody.
the door.
If not, we'll make it for you. Copy.
All right.
Only
I would like
one for the
to
cost.
share.
We'll make it a cost price. Okay, Sharmaji, make for the cost price. No profit. Okay.
Share with other people, and then if you would like a copy of the paper that I presented tonight, see the people at the reception desk tomorrow, and they can tell you how to get a copy of the paper and how much they'll charge you for it and so forth. So if you'll see Lisa on the way out, she will give you a copy of the newsletter. I brought 50 with me here to the lecture tonight. There are more than 50 people here, so if you will please share with each other, make copies or do whatever so that everybody who wants one can have one. Thank you.
Many of these crickets come here, Doctor, I didn't need also. This is for you and that. This is one of the ancient groups, both of you. And in this, our ancient breathing techniques and all the things which I learned from our family in the United States, you read that. Because some of these are moral commentaries in my own day. But never these kind of things are published, so it's very important to help you. Just give me a couple of more. But this reason because for experiment this will help you, and also you find why this group got all these deformities, okay? And Mike also give me one. Dr. Narayan, give me one copy. Dr. Narayan, give me Narayan. So now you read both and try to work together. And who are the scientists? In a scientist here? Who are? I am the scientist. Okay, give to Swami Vishnu again. So please then tomorrow I'll be with you all, okay? And I'll call you once more for a small meeting.
By the way, I have the microphone on. Okay, I have a request, and I'd like to see if there's somebody here who is adept and very experienced, and I mean very experienced, a master at laying out of hands healing. Somebody who considers themselves quite adept at this. I'd like you to contact Mark Ashley or one of the laboratory staff to see if you would be willing to do an experiment sometime during the day on Thursday. Is the day we plan to do this. So if you are, or if you know somebody who is very adept at therapeutic touch or laying on of hands healing, I would like somebody who would like to participate in a laboratory investigation of
Bring some of the interest, maybe that's also healing effect with God. Maybe we'll experiment that also. Okay? Thank you. So you stay a little longer with me. Maybe all your life. Thank you all. All? Oh, okay. I'll finish in 2 seconds. 2 seconds is 2 moments. Not Burma's moment. You are going to hear the wonderful violin as a, what's the time now?
10:25.
10 to off, so we got half an hour more, so she can play the half an hour. 5 minutes I can take. Give her a chair, let her come and sit down. When I was concluding for doctorate taken for other experiments, for more than 2 years I've gone forcibly an experiment, not I wanted, I was told to do, to crystals. Many things I consider. Many things I never dreamt I was taught forcibly again, against my will. I don't know what means spirit manifestation or collects the, what do you call that, spirit manifestation, an ordinary word. Spirit, eh? No, they come at seance. Yeah. I actually gone through that experience with several of my students, and automatic writing and automatic message comes in unconscious exercise. This I've gone through. And the crystals do have an effect. It pulsates with a proper frequency and proper breathing. You can change the frequency of your brain. And you can change the frequency of others too. You can really control people if you know the right frequency of breathing. It's very dangerous anyhow. One day we may find if we can create havoc on earth. Many subjects are there, but anyhow, all this I was taught not from the people from this earth. There are people in another dimension, and they are watching us. This you all must behave, you must realize. We are not alone. The scientists in this planet Earth, they know we are just like children playing with the gunpowder and with the matchstick. What we are doing, we do not know. They are guiding us, and when they know that we are playing the wrong direction, they put a stop to it. And they are doing it even now. And they can change your wavelength of your brain. In many ways, they can change your wavelength. As we already talked about magnetic, they can change this wavelength by artificially. And so you will never know what you are doing. Then you may be doing, suddenly put a block. In fact, it happened in many of my experiments also. We are not able to tune. It happened once I was in the last year with the other chief engineer from Czechoslovakia and Dr. Veera. They were experimenting. I first put all the electrodes in my brain. I want to use how the crystal works, because he had a new machine of $150,000 a spectrograph to see and he asked to tune to another direction, the crystal. I didn't accidentally, I never do that, because that's very wrong, the energy. Within few minutes, our High Commissioner was there, and then within few seconds, my body was completely drained of all energy, and I fell down from with all the electrodes. By the time the EEG was disconnected, and the crystal fell down, my body was going to another dimension. And by then, Dr. Veera, she was shouted. Dr. Veera came. She had a stethoscope. She put. My heart was completely gone. EEG was flat. I don't know what happened to EEG because machines that came out. But there's some results they found out. And I could hear the voice, and they were talking about call ambulance or call this, and then someone is talking something, and I could hear that voice from another dimension, but I can't speak. Only I was, please put that crystal back in my hand. Somehow someone put the crystal, I don't know who that was, you were there at that time? And who put the crystal in my hand back? Jerry, that's the engineer, the chief engineer. He's all very genius. And I had to turn back. All my energy is just leaking out, my prana, what you are called magnetism, I experienced in my body. I turned back, and within few minutes, the energy instead of going out, it came back to my body. If not, I wouldn't come back into the planet, back again.